Back in the day, the toy stores were flooded with heavily marketed cartoon show toys. Business was good, so good that any big toy line, even hyped ones, would get bootlegs or the even more interesting knockoff toys. You could bet your bottom dollar there was a knockoff toy for every vintage toy line, and you could even use that bottom dollar to buy one because they were so cheap. In today's edsretrogeekout, we're wandering down the beautiful abyss that is the 5.5 knockoffs based on the Masters of the Universe. It was a simpler time when cheap look-alike plastic could easily be misinterpreted by moms and dads looking for the real thing in supermarkets, pharmacies, and even toy stores. Although, some of these were pretty questionable. So be sure to smash that subscribe button and let's strap in for some toy history. Released in 1981, Mattel's Masters of the Universe stormed the toy market, accompanied by a very popular cartoon, securing the success Mattel had been chasing ever since they missed out on the Star Wars toy license, which skyrocketed Kenner's sales. In 1984, they sold for over $350 million worth of $5 dolls and $20 castles. The cartoon became one of the highest rating kid shows thanks to 166 television stations showing off the cartoon, and it was also shown in 37 other countries. It is one of the most recognizable toy lines of the 80s, and it also spawned the iconic torso that so many bootlegs and knockoffs would use. Now, another toy manufacturer called Remco created a well-received line of monster figures in 1981, but quickly saw the popularity of Mattel's He-Man line. The upcoming toy lines they had just scored licenses for were going to have to compete with He-Man. In 1982, Remco introduced toy lines for Conan, where He-Man was pretty much based on in the beginning, but it's a story for another video. And DC Comics Warlord got its own toy line called Lost World of the Warlord, indicating on the card the toys were compatible with the Masters of the Universe toys. Later they changed it to just 5.5 figures, and of course Remco introduced their Warrior Beasts line with Skullman. Now it didn't take long for Mattel to see, hey, this Remco toy line is based on our Masters of the Universe. So in 1983, Mattel sued Remco to stop production and sale of the 5.5 dolls called Warlords, which were designed to compete with the Masters of the Universe line by Mattel. Now, Mattel had registered copyrights on the Masters of the Universe dolls, and the Remco dolls were in violation of these laws. It's also common law right to be protected against unfair competition under New York law. But they're action figures, right? Why do they keep calling them dolls in all this?
It's outrageous, egregious, preposterous.
Masters of the Universe had a series of action figures with different heads, clothing, and names, but all sharing a common torso, which is a sculptor's exaggerated rendering of a bodybuilder's body with shortened legs. Likewise, the Remco action figures share a body with overdeveloped muscles and short legs. The Remco dolls also have different hands, legs, names, clothing, and accessories from the Mattel ones. After all, they were based on a comic book by DC. Copyright claims stated that Remco copied the Master of the Universe torso, which Mattel considers to be the essential part of the doll action figure. Well, there was a resemblance, it wasn't a copy. And Remco did give their sculptor a He-Man doll to make sure their action figures wouldn't look weaker. Even though it looked like a Master of the Universe torso, it was still just another artist's rendering of a really muscular doll. After all, the sculptor had also used bodybuilding, comic book magazines, and other materials to draw inspiration from.
No way. You know, that kind of mudslinging, you throw it up against the side of a barn, but it don't stick.
And that's when the court decided that a superhuman muscle man crouching in what since the Neanderthal times has been a traditional fighting pose was an unprotectable idea. And for the second part of the case, Mattel have failed to provide sufficient evidence that Remco's toys could be confused for Masters of the Universe toys by consumers and retailers. And it's thanks to the differentiating packaging and the names from the other IPs on it that it didn't get claimed. Remco did benefit from Mattel's success in developing a market for the 5.5 figures, but Mattel failed to demonstrate that Remco was doing so in an illegal way.
Objection, Your Honor!
With the case being cleared in favor of Remco, they could continue to create their awesome figures. And now we know the difference between a bootleg and a knockoff. A bootleg is a direct copy trying to come off as the real deal. A knockoff jumps on whatever is popular and tries to ride the wave of success, but do implement some of their own creativity in the actual toys. Now the gates were opened, and this brings us to a little company called Sungold. Operating from Hong Kong, they created the prototype of Master of the Universe knockoff toy lines with the Galaxy Warriors in 1983. So popular, it would spawn its own bootlegs and knockoffs. The molds were also based on the iconic Masters of the Universe torso, but with cheaper plastic and less articulation, yet somehow still remaining some of that Masters of the Universe feel, and mainly thanks to the card art that was derived from Frank Frazetta's work. When Mattel was working on the Conan line, they had also sought some inspiration from his fantasy sword and sorcery art. The Sungold Galaxy is endless, with Galaxy Warriors, Muscle Warriors, Galaxy Fighters, Galaxy Heroes, Freedom Fighters, Fearful Beasts served as vehicles like Battle Cat, and there was also a subline called Galaxy Warriors End of Time, or the Sword and Sorceress toy line. Sometimes the toys would be stamped with Sungold, then Suko, then Solido, Kamikaze Toys. I think it was all just the same company reinventing itself, because it all led to Hong Kong, and you could even hire them to make your very own knockoff brand. As we can see on this promo, the one thing people do the same is the one thing people are doing wrong, so do it right with Sungold. The latest in marketing trends. Quality second to none. No project too big. Manufacturing and quotes to customers' requirements. Personalized service. I'm actually thinking of making my own knockoff brand right now. Now, the toys made by Sungold weren't really up to standard with Masters of the Universe. Just look at these descriptions on Galaxy Warriors. Moving arms and legs, twisting head and waist, complete with shield, breastplate, and weapon. Well, they're being honest, really honest, or they just didn't have a good marketing guy. Or the packaging for the Fearful Beast from the Planet Terror. Hand-painted, non-toxic paint, authentic details, and semi-posable. Checking the right boxes, I want this toy right now. Whenever you see a Masters of the Universe toy lot, there will be a knockoff figure somewhere in there, and they're becoming more and more collectible. For toy stores, they sold good as well. They were cheaper, and you can find them easily in catalogs being promoted right next to Mattel's He-Man toy line. Toy stores did a little bit of their own influencing. They would also pair the toys with other compatible toys like the Imperial dragon animals, and it didn't take long for them to use the same Battle Cat Big Jim trick, when they added a saddle so your 5.5 figurine could ride on this animal, and of course some Frazetta-esque artwork that would definitely get the ball rolling. The Imperial Dragon toys reinvented themselves as Imperial Dragon Toys, Knights and Daggers. They would serve as a third-party company, adding to the fantasy with their compatible vehicles, beasts, and weapon packs. Later branching out in robots, lasers, and galaxies. Not only would they look great with your knockoff toys, but also with your actual Master of the Universe figurines. Now, Sungold and Imperial weren't the only toy manufacturers trying to ride this wave, and there's one toy line I would really like to talk about, and that is Sunman. Created by the Olmec Corp somewhere in the 80s, Sunman and the Sun People were the rulers of the sun, and the Washington Post wrote that this action figure line would give black children a sense of power that goes far beyond make-believe. Unlike J. Joe, he wouldn't use violence to defeat evil, but intelligence. The fight between good and evil would be fought through mental powers, with the emphasis on self-confidence. The Sunman toy line was really colorful and fit perfectly with your Master of the Universe action figures. The colors just definitely popped on these toys. Now, Master of the Universe did introduce their own black character as early as 1983 in the comics. Clamchamp was King Randor's royal bodyguard. And just like Sunman gave Masters of the Universe a run for their money, another toy manufacturer was called Speclatron, who also created MOTU inspired toys with an extra gimmick. Who would have ever thought that turning your 5.5 action figure in a glitter-filled snow globe would look so Cool. The torso was cleared and filled with liquids and glitters. The toys would become so colorful, with Deathlord probably being one of the best knockoff sculpts out there, clearly mimicking Skeletor or taking a stab at doing it even better. Deathlord, together with 5 or 6 other figures in the line, are considered holy grails by knockoff collectors. Speclatron, the aliens from outer space battling it out for control of the universe. For magic action, press hole in back, and he will become powergized, invincible, ready for action. Seems like the only thing the knockoff lines didn't make was a playset. Sungold did plan one, but another company took it upon themselves to fight for shelf space with the almighty Castle Grayskull. The Eco Monster Castle, a German interpretation of Castle Grayskull, was manufactured by Eberlein & Co. And abbreviated, you got Eco. In Nuremberg, West Germany, so they weren't manufactured in China nor Hong Kong. The playset is often confused as the official Sungold Galaxy Warriors playset, because those figures were actually displayed along the playset on the pictures that you can see on the box art. Unlike Castle Grayskull, we only have one side to play with. You get a staircase leading to an entrance blocked by a giant hand that could light up. Yes, the castle is alive with a face revealing itself and red eyes that also light up. And yeah, there's also some platforms to pop your figures on, and there's a hole or a dungeon down below. The playset is very rare, and I don't think it's sold too well, but it is on the want list for many 5.5 collectors, as it is the perfect backdrop for their knockoff collections. I want one! The knockoff collecting is endless, with new variations popping up from different parts of the world. Every big toy line got a KO. Even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles got their own 5.5 knockoff toy line, with the Turley Gang sporting that same torso. So you know, the 5.5 story isn't over, but we will continue to report on it in an upcoming toy history. So please leave a like and a comment down below on which other knockoff lines I should be talking about, and maybe you have a new topic for a toy history video. Be sure to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye!